Good morning. We're so glad that you're here. If you don't know who I am, my name is Dave. I'm a Compassion pastor, the Compassion pastor here at Westgate, and we're super excited that you're here. We want to say hi to everybody who's watching, South Hills campus, what's up, theater, and even Slovakia, where we have a mission team right now. Maybe they're dialing up, who knows. We're excited that you're here. Today we have one job and one purpose only. The only thing we're going to do today is celebrate what happened last weekend at Beautiful Day. That's it. That's it. That's it. We're super excited about it. This is all we're going to do, and it's super exciting. And Beautiful Day, if you don't know what Beautiful Day is, Beautiful Day is a time when we do not stop church. We do not shut down church. Oh, no. We take church from in here and take it out there to the streets of San Jose. We had 13 projects across the city, and many people don't know the scope of all the projects because they only served at one project. We had 13 projects. We're going to share with you what happened at these projects. We're super excited. It was an amazing time. I actually got to take over as Beautiful Day director about mid-December, and normally they have years of planning, and so it was a little scrambled, but I want to share with you the amazing stories that happened because incredibly dedicated people. And I just want to recognize a few people because, as you can imagine, this kind of work, and we had it wasn't just Westgate that did this. Of course, we had partner churches on the peninsula. We had partner churches all the way down to South County that did another dozen projects. All told, about 3,500 people. Each gave, at minimum, a 4-hour shift. So you do the math, because literally you do the math, because I can't. It's like 12,000 man-hours or something like that. It's so many man-hours. About $90,000 worth of material was collected, a lot of it from donations. It's just an amazing amount. And you're going to see this morning some amazing stories of transformation. We're super excited. But as we get into this, there's a couple people that we have to thank because, again, Beautiful Day doesn't just happen. Nothing just happens except mold and weight gain. That's just the only things. Some of you laughed a little too hard. Okay, you know. So in your worship folder, there's this handout here of all the people that served. It's a list I call it the Beautiful Day 2015 All-Star Team because I'm a basketball fan, and that is the highest honor someone can be conferred, to be called an all-star player in my book. And so what we're going to do, there's all these names. We're going to have them come up. I'm going to put on a black robe. We're going to play Pomp and Circumstance. They're going to come up. They're going to walk up the stage. I'm going to mispronounce their name, shake their hand, photo op, hand them a little piece of paper. They're going to walk off, and then somebody's going to inflate a beach ball. An angry teacher's going to confiscate it. It'll be just like that. So I hope you have a few hours, because it's only going to take about 2. I'm kidding. I can't obviously do that. But take a look at this list. These people dedicated and gave incredible amounts of time. I wanted to call your attention to a couple people just because I believe, and if this sounds like we're patting ourselves on the back, please don't see it that way. That's not the heart of this. This is rewarding and showing honor to people who gave exorbitant amounts of time and energy and effort. We believe that God sees that, and we want these volunteers to know that we see it too, and that God sees it. So that's the spirit of this thing. I want to call out a couple of people and just kind of explain why these people were so instrumental. These are people who, on the list, have little stars next to their name. These are people who are project managers, which means out of the 13 projects they had, they actually went and grabbed these projects and said, we are going to make sure that these projects get done. They were the project managers. So Phil Alney was in charge of the Independence High School project. Last year, we were all at Independence, and this year we went back to finish up some stuff that they wanted done. The janitor's closet was a mess, and so we repainted that. It was amazing. We had professional painters come in. Phil was the project manager for that, along with Grace Chen. Don Bright was in charge of the Saratoga Subacute Center, which is right down the road. It's a medical hospital for medically fragile children, one of only 2 in Northern California. And the work that they did, they tore off the roof on this building. They rebuilt parks for the parent waiting area. A lot of times parents come and they just want to hang out with their kids. We put an amazing park and this little walkway in. It's just incredibly beautified. Don Bright did an amazing job. Jerry Bezzetta led a team at this place called The Refuge. The Refuge is a home, a kind of a refuge, a safe house for victims of domestic violence and their children. And you're not going to see a lot of pictures of that because for privacy issues, there's some issues there. But you're not going to see very many pictures, but the work they did was amazing. Sarah Crowder did the Comet Parent Center at James Lick High School. The Comet Parent Resource Center is for parents who are immigrants who might need some language help or have some language barriers, and so this resource center helps these parents in the education of their kids. Andy Hood and Stephanie Hood were at City Team. City Team is one of the largest providers of family services to the homeless in all of San Jose. And the work that they did on the inside, they rebuilt, they put in double doors, they basically built this huge room just with all these volunteers, hard, heavy construction, they did that. Rebecca Huang was in charge of the Mayfair cleanup. It was a neighborhood cleanup in kind of an area that's kind of tough and has some real issues. We brought in 24 dumpsters and we filled them all up, and it was just amazing to have all those volunteers. I think there was like 43 mattresses and 71 tires. I don't know how you get 71 tires. Where'd the other 3 go? But there it was. Tish Lopez was on the outside doing the painting of the City Team, along with, her and her fiance, Andrew Seguin, was there, and so they did the outside. They painted the entire building, the entire structure. Ralph Moya headed up construction at the Viamonte Hoffman site. This was a fourplex that was, they did amazing work. They built a pergola, which is a fancy word for a really nice gazebo, as kind of this community space. They rebuilt the carport so it was safe. They repainted, they scrubbed and power washed and sanded the entire exterior. They repainted the entire building. It was just incredible. Jeff Nelson headed up probably our most ambitious project. This was at Piedmont Middle School. We know the principal, and there's some teachers there that also helped us and worked with us, and you're going to see more on that. But that was an incredibly ambitious project. Jeff headed that up. Jesse Neese headed up the dance here at the Saratoga campus. We had a dance for our friends at Young Life Capernaum. Young Life Capernaum is an organization that works with and helps kids with developmental disabilities, and we had a dance here that was Alice in Wonderland themed. You'll see photos of that later. Chris Otonari also headed up a project at Majestic Way Elementary School. Joy Perkins headed up something at our South Hills campus. For the folks in the refuge, we talked about the refuge earlier, the safe home for victims of domestic abuse. We transported all those women and their kids down to South Hills, and we put on an amazing dinner for them. We'll talk about that later, too. Andrew Seguin, we already talked, he was with his fiancee Tish at City Team. Sean Seguin, his brother, headed up the Young Life Demolition. Young Life is one of our partner organizations. They do amazing work throughout the Bay with young people, and they have offices in downtown Willow Glen, and they're doing some remodeling. And we said, well, we can save you money on the demo because there's one thing we can do at Westgate, it's break stuff. So we did that. And then finally, Veronica Torres headed up a mop swap, which was this giant mop swap at James Lick High School. We went out, and a lot of times when parents have young kids and their kids outgrow something and they're done with kids, they don't want that thing in their house anymore because they are done with it. And sometimes this stuff's really nice, but the parents are just like, we're done with it, right? Like once you're done with diapers, you don't want to see a diaper genie ever again. It's like, get behind me, Satan, right? Because just get out of my house, right? And so they collected hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of baby clothes and strollers and all sorts of stuff. And then they went into the James Lick neighborhood and they passed out flyers and said, listen, we have an amazing mop swap. Everything's totally free. Come check it out. And they put that on. It was an amazing, amazing time. So those are our project managers. And then on the front, I had the first team, All Beautiful Day. These were the Beautiful Day directors. This team met every single Wednesday night for literally hours and hours, planning, adjusting, making sure that everything happened. These people were incredible. This is the reason Beautiful Day happened, because these directors, each of them took multiple projects in many cases, and they made sure that those project managers were successful. And this team, I got to meet with them first of all, they had to meet with me and be around me every single Wednesday. So right there, the sacrifice, right? But secondly, just what they did, I just want to quickly read off their names. Sophia Donia was in charge of all the registration. Terry Tracy, she bought everything for every project. Listen, I go to the grocery store with a list and I forget things. Can you imagine the scope of buying everything for every project? And she did it. Vicky Field helped lead the project identification team, which found and recognized all of the projects based on some of our criteria. James Tanner is this massive tech geek, and I say that with all the love and respect in my heart. He is a geek and worked with other geeks to build these database and these online stuff to help us with forms and just organize ourselves. Joanne Glenn, she's run Beautiful Day and many of the logistics for years now, and she was a wealth of information for us. Scott Larson scoped out with some construction guys the scope of the project, and he would tell us what needs to be done from a construction standpoint. Carrie Michelle's on staff. She held all things administrative. She was super helpful. And then our directors, Amy Tanner, Jared Killian, Bob Froese, Jen Zavalos, Jamiko Grunlow, and Wendy Laudenson all had multiple projects that they were in charge of to make sure those projects got done. So would you do something for me? Would you please, just in the spirit of appreciation, knowing that God saw, God knows, and that the untold hours that these people put to make Beautiful Day a success, could you please give them a round of applause from me? Could you? I'm so grateful. It just wouldn't have happened. It just wouldn't have happened. This was a massive scope. And also, could you do this for me? If you participated in any way with Beautiful Day, if you helped make Beautiful Day go, if you participated in any way, could you stand right now at the theater at South Hills? Could you just stand right now and let's give them a round of applause? Thank you. Thank you, guys. Again, it doesn't work without you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's amazing. So many people were super excited about it. I wanted to because I got to drive, I'm the only one really, along with the video team, that got to see all 13 projects the days of, because on the day of I was just driving around, and so I wanted to share with you 5 of my favorite stories. And I'm going to do this by showing some pictures, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, so I'm already 1,000 words ahead. I want to start, and I'm just going to share with you 5 of my favorite stories through pictures. So this is the first photo I wanted to show. This little guy showed up at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday. I pray to God that is hot cocoa in that cup. Because if he's already addicted, that is an expensive habit, young man. His name is Jake. He's actually the son of one of our tech guys, Chris Lucero here. And Jake showed up, and he was just all ready to go, eager to work. I actually came back to the project at City Team. He was at City Team. I came back about noon, and the early team at City Team was so industrious and so hardworking. They were actually outworking the scope of the project. They were like, I was like, hey guys, can you guys pretend you're at the DMV and work a little slower? I mean, just... Sorry if anyone here works at the DMV. That's just easy target. I don't really mean that. Please don't write me angry letters. It takes 6 to 8 weeks to get to me anyway. The point is, thank you. Thank you. You guys are a lively bunch. So I came back about noon, and it was amazing. The kids there was a fire curb along the whole length of the building, and some adults and some kids had taped off the fire curb. You know, it's like bright red. And these little kids, all these kids are sitting there painting it with these rollers. And these kids are just all working together, this army collective of kids. It was amazing. They're all just painting. It doesn't matter if they mess up because they're tape, right? And they're just painting, and they're having a blast, and they're feeling productive. And so I walk up, and I'm like, hey, can somebody get me a whole army of kids to paint this whole curb fire engine red? Can I get that, please? I was kind of being sarcastic. And little Jake walks up to me and goes, I don't see your hands dirty. So I buried him in some mulch. There it is. Let me tell you, as a dad, it was just awesome to see these kids serving. It just does something to my heart. You know, people say, this generation, they're entitled and they're selfish. But man, to see parents out there with their kids and see kids serving alongside their mom, yeah, it doesn't go perfectly, and yeah, they make some mistakes, but the lessons, the values. This was at the Comet Parent Center. They're just face painting, and aren't those kids just adorable? There's just only one possible way those kids could be any cuter. If they were mine, they're my kids, and that would be it. Kids of mine, that's it. Just adorable. And I just love this. I love the idea of teaching our kids Service is not an event, it's a way of life. And we serve our community. We serve those who don't have as much as us. And that's part of our life story. It's just an amazing thing. And to see dads out there with their kids and moms out there with it was just beautiful. And it just really did my heart wonder. So this is the next one I love. This is at the Young Life Center. This is a team of people who there was about 31 people, I think, up there with, all of them had sledgehammers. And they were bringing down this entire place. And actually, this is a picture of what the place looked like when they were done. Look at this right here. It's just gone. They just demoed our thing. I mean, it's just gone. And it was amazing. They had so much rubble and so much stuff they had to get rid of. What they actually had to do is they had to get it out of the building, right? So how are they going to get it out of the building? It's on the second floor. So what they did is they built this ramp. I think we have a picture of it. It's like from Home Alone, right? And they would put this debris in these huge bags, and they would just slide it down this ramp, and then volunteers would grab these like 60-pound bags of plaster and wood and nails, and they would put it in this giant dumpster. I mean, it was an inordinate amount of work, and it was incredible. There was just one small problem. All the demo work took place on a Saturday, and this office is located in downtown Willow Glen above a business. And it was downtown Willow Glen's wine walk day. And we had like this giant dumpster, this huge gaudy green dumpster, like this 40-yard, 80-yard kind of dumpster in front of their place of business. And we knew we were trying to be as fast as we could with the demo, and we knew that. And we were trying to be as fast as we can and get all the demo done. But it takes a lot of work, and you can't have like 100 people up there with sledgehammers. That's just a recipe for a bad Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. It's just not the kind of thing you want. That was a really dated reference. Don't know why I went there. The point is, it was like, so you can only have so many people, so we're trying. So we made this like huge gift basket. Like we put stuff in it like chocolate and wine. And I was there to kind of present it to the owners of this place, this downtown place in Willow Glen. And I was there to kind of schmooze and just look good. And I'm really good at that. Don't know why you're laughing, kind of hurts. The point is, I'm there with this giant basket, and I walk in, and I'm like, listen, we're really sorry. And I was going to apologize. And this patron who's in the store, and the store is called Park Place Vintage in downtown Willow Glen, and we're in there, and we're sitting there, and I walk in, and this patron goes, what's going on up there? Sounds like a bunch of hippopotamuses mating. You couldn't have gone with dancing or something else? A little less vulgar, but whatever. And I don't know how he knows that, but he was a zookeeper. The point is, I walk in with this basket, and I'm like, listen, I'm really sorry. I know it's loud. It was not quiet. And listen, this coming from me, it was not quiet, all right? So I walk in with this basket, and I'm like, listen, we're really sorry. We're really sorry. We're going to be as fast as we can, and we're going to make sure, especially during the wine walk, we're going to keep the sidewalk clear and clean. There's going to be no debris. All of our volunteers will move. We'll make sure that nothing impedes your storefront. And as I say the words, we will make sure nothing impedes your storefront. Someone upstairs took a sledgehammer and broke a water pipe right above the effacement. And this curtain of water comes showering down right out front of their store. I mean, it was like a water feature at an amusement park. And I'm like, see, we put in a mister. Cool things off. Sometimes wine's too strong, you need to water it down. And it's pouring down, and I'm like, So, if any of you live near downtown Willow Glen, anybody here? Anybody have a car? Could you drive to downtown Willow Glen and Park Place Vintage? If you like vintage stuff, please buy. It'd be great. And just walk in and say, I heard about this place from Beautiful Day. I would like to purchase something. That would be really helpful. That would be great. But again, you can't just drive there and purchase something. You have to say, I heard about this place from Beautiful Day. That would be great. So anyway, that was kind of funny. This was another one of my favorite projects. This was a Piedmont high school or middle school, and again, somebody goes there. Great. Or is a teacher there. The principal, we know some teachers, and this is one of my favorite projects because the scope of this project was just enormous. They did picnic tables, they repainted maps, they cleaned every window in the place, they redid the gym, and they redid this area. This is kind of an agriculture area. It was supposed to be kind of gardening, science, botany, ag, but it was not in very good condition. So all these volunteers showed up. I love this photo. It's like a Chevy commercial, like a rock, Doesn't it? I mean, just like we're Americans with blue jeans and moving dirt. Doesn't it just... We build America one shovelful at a time. It's kind of politicians' mottos, too. Anyway. Sorry, every politician. I'm not really sorry. All right, anyway. So this is what they took out of that area. Look at this. I don't know if you can see this. That pile of dead green stuff in the back, that's like as large, it's huge. It was just massive. And they moved hundreds and hundreds of pounds of pavers. And they just it was like extreme home makeover garden edition. And this is what it looked like when they were done. Look at this. This is what the garden looked like. I mean, just gorgeous. They put it, yeah. They put in planter boxes. Some volunteers actually dug in and actually tapped into the school's irrigation system so the students will be able to irrigate these plants. And the teachers were just beside themselves. They're like, this is amazing. And I think we have another picture, too, of the side. They just moved all the stuff. And the teachers, pea gravel and weed block, it was amazing. It was just amazing. And so the teachers, the ag teachers and the science teachers are like so ecstatic. And the best part is they didn't finish the project. So when the kids come in on Monday, they're going to have to finish it, right? So some buy-in. So they're going to be working and getting the thing ready because it's their area, their space. And one of the teachers was like, over here we can grow some citrus trees, and over here we have some flowers, and over here we'll have some herbs. And I'm like, wait. What kind of herbs? Because I know that schools are underfunded, and that could solve a portion of that. But you'd have to have snack shacks everywhere. And that would give a whole new meaning to the term bake sale. You know what I'm saying? So they assured me, parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme. So super fun. That's a drug joke in church. There it is. Yeah, that one's for you. This is one of my other favorite projects was here at the Saratoga campus. They put on the dance for Young Life Capernaum. Again, our friends at Young Life Capernaum work with kids, young students who have developmental disabilities, an amazing organization, and they put on a dance here that was Alice in Wonderland themed. Now, if you're like me, Alice in Wonderland kind of creeps me out. Anybody? Anybody else kind of creeped out by Alice in Wonderland? Everyone's like, no, don't clap. It's just creepy. Just kind of slowly raise your hand. It's like clowns. It's like a little weird, right? It's like Lewis Carroll wrote it using some stuff from Piedmont Middle School. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. That's a second drug joke. Okay, that's all you get today. So it's just this weird, but what these volunteers did to transform this place into an Alice in Wonderland themed thing. Let me show you some pictures. This was the lobby as you enter in. These giant cards. They had games in the lobby. This is one of the games. It was like croquet based on the book, if you're familiar. Just incredible. Look at this attention to detail of all the decorations in the place. This is another picture. This is kind of the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. Look at the attention to detail. It was just incredible. They had this tower of cupcakes, and all these volunteers put like I just took 5 pictures of this because just a tower of cupcakes is enough to move me to tears. These are the 2 people responsible for it. This is Jesse Neese on the left and Wendy on the right. They just dressed up like the Mad Hatter and the Queen. And this is one of my favorite photos of Wendy. She actually looks like the Queen. Off with their heads, right? Well, it's kind of funny because it was here on Saturday night, and we normally have services on Saturday night, and this couple kind of showed up, and they did not know that Beautiful Day was going on. And I don't know, maybe they're new or whatever, and they kind of pull up, and they're like, oh, look, there's more places to park. So they park, and they hear music, and they're like, okay, the service is starting. And they didn't know we had like a DJ in here. So they walk in the front doors of the lobby, and they're like, this is a little weird, and they walk in, and they open up the doors. And again, we have a DJ and lights, and this is what they see. It's like, turn down for what? It's just like all these people dancing, and they're like, what kind of church is this? It's a great question. What kind of church is this? What kind of church has that many volunteers show up to decorate and put on a dance? What kind of church has that many volunteers make the lobby and transform that and take all the chairs out of here and transform this into a dance club for these students at Young Life Capernaum? What kind of church does that? The kind of church that's interested in these kind of moments. This is my favorite photo out of all of them. This is the kind of church we have because all those volunteers worked hard for this moment. Joy. I just stared at this picture. I just love this picture. Just joy, unadulterated joy. It's just amazing. The final project I wanted to highlight was at our South Hills campus. They transformed the South Hills campus. They have this fellowship hall. And again, we have this partnership with this place called The Refuge, which is a home, a refuge, a safe house for victims of domestic abuse and their children. And so what we did is we had a team of construction workers working on that house, and they transformed it, and it was amazing. And then we went over and we chauffeured all the women and all their kids over to South Hills. We had children's workers do this amazing night of games and fun, and they cooked dinner for the kids. And then we brought all of these women into the South Hills Fellowship Hall, and they transformed it into this amazing dining experience. And this is the picture. I mean, South Hills has it's a nice fellowship hall, but these volunteers, led by Carolyn Kokenauer, made it look like a Beyonce video. I mean, it was lights hanging in the air. I mean, it was amazing. This place looked gorgeous. These waterfall features, and I mean, it was gorgeous. And we had a professional chef come in, and I got there early, and we're walking in, and he had the whole South Hills kitchen was transformed. He had sous chefs whipping things up, and he made salmon and chicken cordon bleu, or bleu, however you pronounce it. It's French, I don't even know. And they made 5-course meal. I mean, it was, and we had a band there playing, and then one of our worship leaders, Karina, kind of sang, and then she gave her testimony. It was amazing to remind these women that God has not forgotten them. And I actually peeked into the fridge. This is just this is one of 6 dessert options that the women had. These are fruit tarts. And after I took this picture, it was one of 5 dessert options that the women had. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, the chef and the way that they treated these women, it was incredible. And as the night ended, and after we packed up all the kids and put them, and we chauffeured them back home, one of the women turned to one of her drivers, and she said this. She said, "My whole life, no one has ever done anything kind for me just to be kind." And I thought about that. I thought about the violence and the abuse that had descended upon this woman, how mistreated she had been, how abandoned, and how a community got together and said, no, you're worth sparing no expense. You are worth an inordinate amount to our God and therefore to us. And to be able to share and see that was just amazing. So we have a highlight video that highlights our projects. Now, for privacy and so for some reason, some of the projects couldn't be shown, but this is most of the project. This is kind of an overview of the work that happened in 2015 at Beautiful Day. So take a look. That's awesome. Again, thank you guys for serving. Again, it doesn't happen. I just want to close with this. Just 2 lessons that I learned from this beautiful day, from heading this up, from leading this amazing team, and from being a part of this thing. 2 things. First, I learned that just a few people can have a pretty giant impact. Sometimes the problems of society or a nation or our city are so overwhelming, so confusing, so complex, that I get paralyzed with fear, that I can never even figure out a solution, and even if I could figure out a solution, that I don't have enough money or time or power or influence to make any constructive change. But that is false. I learned that a few people dedicated to each other and to the task and willing to put in some hard work can make a pretty giant difference. It reminds me of that story in Genesis where Abraham is bartering with God over Sodom and Gomorrah. If you find 50 righteous people, God, 50. What about 45? 40? 35? Will you save the city then? Just a few can have a giant impact. And the whole time I was thinking, I want to be one of those when God looks down and sees San Jose. I want to be one who says, God, send me. Will you help me be your agent of grace in this city that I love so much? That was beautiful. And the second thing I learned was that beautiful day. This is amazing. I got a chance to brag about you guys and the work that you did and the work that the project directors and managers did to a lot of different people in a ton of different venues, from school to social media to my family to all this kind of stuff. And every single time I shared this with people who are not necessarily a part of Westgate's family or even part of any sort of church thing, you're maybe suspicious about church or religion, believe that religion's kind of toxic in general and that it's destructive. I got the same response from almost verbatim from everyone I shared, and their response utterly depressed me. The same response I got from everyone was, wow, that is amazing. I've never heard of anything like that. Really? You've never heard of anything like that? Is it that rare for Christians to love their city and neighbors with no strings attached that it elicits a wow? Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. What an aberration. That's super depressing because and as in preparation for this, to be a compassion pastor, I was reading everything I could about compassion and reading the Bible and Jesus' words through the lens of compassion. And we got these 3 kind of, legs of a stool at Westgate. Love God, love one another, and love our neighbor. And I don't really think, I was taught growing up subtly that serving your city, serving the poor, was something for the spiritual giants. Mother Teresa, people who had like the LeBron Jameses of spirituality, right? They're just gifted and they're one of a kind, so don't even try to be like them, right? I just don't think that serving your city and serving your neighbor is PhD level theology. I think it's basics. I think if love of God does not translate into love of each other and love of our neighbor, then you don't understand. It just doesn't seem like, and the question as I would go around this, there's this verse in Micah, you're familiar with it, Micah 6:8. He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. To walk humbly, right? That God is God, He is the King, and I am not, but I am to walk with Him, because walking is a picture of intimacy. From Adam and Eve walking in the garden with God, to God walking with Israel, to Jesus coming down to earth and walking with us in an intimate relationship. He is King, but He walks with us. And to love mercy, and the word mercy doesn't even do it justice. The word in Hebrew is hesed, which means it's this word that's just loving kindness. We don't even have enough words. The best way I describe it to my kids is God's always giving, never stopping, always and forever kind of family covenant love. And even that's inadequate. That God wants us to love each other like brothers and sisters. And if those two things happen in tandem, there's no real need for justice, is there? Because we'd all be in right relationship with God and with each other. But because we're not, and things are broken, this word justice comes up, to do justice, to act justly, to do justice. And justice is a giving people of the rights that God wants to have them. But it's also equitable punishment and equitable acquittal, that there's no favoritism. If you walk justly, it's because you have the hesed of God, because you have walked with him and known his heart. This is not calculus. It's like basic math. And as I would go over and walk with God in the middle of this, God constantly asked me this question. How you doing on compassion, Dave? How's your heart? Is it like mine? Do you have eyes like mine? And most of the time I'd have to say, God, I don't. I'm selfish and self-absorbed, and I'm small. I'm not. I'm just not like you. Would you help me? Because I want to be like you. I want to do this right with you. I want to have fruit, not just impact. That would be nice, but I want to have a heart like yours. How's your heart? How's your compassion heart? This is real high stakes for me. I posted on Facebook some stuff that we were doing, and I got this Facebook message. It said this: David, I am one of those people who is inherently suspicious of organized religions and who cringes when someone says I'm a Christian. But you renew my belief that Christians can actually make the world a better place by following Christ's words and deeds. That's high stakes for me because Bob Cosma is my father-in-law. So thanks. Thanks for serving. Thanks for getting outside of yourself. Thanks for showing and following Christ's words and deeds. Thanks for a beautiful day. And may this be just the beginning. May this not be an event, but a lifestyle, because we can never become corporately what we are not becoming individually. Will you pray with me? Heavenly Father, thank you for all the people that gave. Thank you for your Spirit, which is alive, to draw us towards your heart of compassion. Thank you that you loved us first, and you were a God and are a God of compassion who loves our city and loves us well. And may we love our city and others well because you have loved us well. May you transform us to be more like your kids. It's in your name we pray. Amen.